Folks, welcome. You have done it. You have made it to Friday. This is so bad it's good. This is your pal Ryan, and we are doing a summer house recap. Oh my God! We're nearing summer. The summer vibes. Watching Summer House. Summer. How are you guys doing? Are you happy that it's the weekend? Listen, I released a lot of shows this week. I released two yesterday. I know that's a lot. I know it's hard to keep up with. But remember, you can listen to these anytime, anywhere, anyhow. We did a Valley recap yesterday, but we also had four of the stars of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which just premiered on Hulu today. All 10 episodes are out. And I think that might be a good one to come back to listen to once you watch some of the second season. I was very excited about that, and we got to do. I'm really loving doing these in-person interviews. We also had Cynthia Bailey and Crystal Minkoff from the Humble Brag podcast earlier this week, and that was in person, and it's really exciting. So the next goal years from now would be to have my own studio and put all my little toys. I just want a man cave. Yeah. Woo. No. So thank you for all your support as always. This is a lot, man. Thank you to Maritza and Sandra who helped me out. I feel like I'm accepting an Oscar right now, but I just want you to know, like, man, I still feel like this show is like the little engine that could. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not famous, and we have built this from the ground up. And sometimes I don't even realize if this is succeeding. I don't, sometimes you just keep your head down and you work and you work and you work. And it is really amazing when I have people reach out to me, when I get to see it, and that takes some sort of enjoyment from this, or it helps you through some sort of hard time. And that I get those messages. I see those messages a lot where, somebody's dealing with a sick family member or even a death, or, and just said, I provided a little stupid laugh. And that's really all this is here for. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of your life in any sort of way. Two announcements. I wanted to say a happy birthday to Anna. I did a cameo for her this morning. It was her birthday. Happy birthday, Anna. And also a happy anniversary to an OG baddie, Amy Duffy. Her husband, Nick, reached out to me and said, can you wish a happy anniversary? So yeah, Amy and her husband are awesome. I think Amy makes Nick watch Bravo, and I think I don't even think Nick secretly, I think Nick really likes Bravo now. So that's amazing. Get all of your family and friends into these shows. Bring them into your depravity and make them suffer. In only, like, isn't it amazing when you turn people onto these shows and it's like, come watch the horrific hellaciousness of the valley. Come see how I like to relax by watching this trauma on film. And we're going to watch it today with Summer House. And yeah, let's just get it out of the way. Sometimes love doesn't last. It's hard. It's hurtful. I thought Lexi and Jesse, or as I call them, Jexy, I thought they were going to go the distance. I didn't actually think that. But my God, can we make more out of a 7-week relationship? Like, my God, I love the series. Like, they're treating this so seriously that I almost thought they were 18 years old. I was like, wait, am I watching a high school show? And by the way, Jesse is still very much together with the girl that he likes best, and that is attention. I think Jesse, even more so than West, which even had that, I feel weird even say, I feel like it's a betrayal to say that. But this Jesse, we've got to stop him before he gets too strong, because this is just a little speed bump in the road. He is going to guilt you into loving him. He is going to, oh man, oh shucks, I'm a puppy dog. I got big teeth. Also, I just realized some of my dislike of Jesse on screen, I do not know him off screen. He might be a great guy. Is that he has like perfect big old chompers, and I've been dealing with like some teeth issues. Some toothy issues, and I think my anger bubbles up when I see his perfect teeth. And Carl's got those big fake chompers too, but I think Jesse's are real chompers, right? Anyways, yeah, Jesse and Lexi broke up this week, and sadly, at the very end of this episode, and I knew it was coming, but it still was emotional when they said, next week on the season finale of Summer House. That's right. We have come to the end of the road of Summer House. And it's so interesting. I'm on TikTok a lot now. I don't make a lot of TikToks. I'm trying to get better, but follow me on TikTok. I think it's so bad it's good with Ryan B. Maybe that's the username. But I see a lot of people talk about Summer House, and it really varies wildly. I have told you now, like, I think every week that this is my comfort show. And I will say that, like, even when Summer House is boring, I find it soothing. And there is very, like, the Jesse Lexi stuff, that is like so low level in the sense of these people just met 8 weeks ago. Like, I'm not going to pour one out for Jexy at all. But I do love the seriousness in which they take this. But I love just the minutia. I love them putting their Uber Eats, which, by the way, like the subtle ad placement. It's not even subtle anymore. Is that Uber Eats now sponsors Summer House? And there was like another sponsorship, I think, in this episode where you're like, good, get your bag, Bravo. Yeah. Have them like, what is, it's like next week they're going to bring out guns. It's like sponsored by Smith and Wesson. But I like just the stupid shit of like Carl putting a sandwich tray down there. And I am not this forgiving on other shows, but for some reason, Summer House works for me in the blandness, in the sense of a shared reality that there is a place called a summer house where young people, and now they're turning into old people, go and they are forced to hang out on the weekends together. I mean, sometimes I feel like it must be torturous for the cast of Summer House. Like they have to go every weekend. They got to pretend to drink Loverboy. No offense, Kyle. But like even Kyle, I said this yesterday, like sometimes I feel like it's conspiracy theory. Sometimes I feel like Kyle has glued the Loverboy to his hand and there's nothing in it. He just knows that it's good product placement. So there is not a scene that goes by. Like, you know, like I need to go back and check like earlier seasons, like to see if even in the most dramatic of scenes, him yelling at Amanda, he has a Loverboy in his hand. He will get that product placement in there. But I mean, like, listen, I saw somebody who was like, on TikTok was like, you know, next year, I think it's the end of Summer House. And like, who knows? There's a lot of rumors that Paige isn't coming back. I think she will come back, but there's a lot of rumors that she will not. And yes, Paige at this point does not need the show. I am probably in the minority where I think Paige still enjoys being on the show. And I have to say, no matter how big you get, there is nothing like being on television every week. I've talked to many people that have like left television or left Bravo, and they do miss that aspect of it. It helps just in visibility. It helps with people talking to you. Even if it is people talking bad about you, that still helps your overall Q score in a way. And I think even though Paige doesn't need it, I think there is an element of, yeah, she actually genuinely likes most of the people on this. The other thing is like Lindsay Hubbard, if she comes back. Now, I don't think Lindsay Hubbard will come back, but I also don't give a rip. Like, I'm not pretending that these people are young. Like, I don't, and also I'll blow your minds. I don't even give a fuck about the actual Summer House. I hate to hurt the house's feelings, but I'm invested in these people now. Like, I do want to see how Lindsay raises her daughter. I do want to see, and that's where that rumor of the Roni stuff, which, by the way, Andy swears to God, Andy has now made it so clear that Roni is not canceled, that they are actively doing casting as we speak. Which, by the way, did you see Teddy? We can call her Freddie Mellencamp. First off, great news about Freddie Mellencamp is that she is like, the immunotherapy seemed to have worked wonders, and she only has now one tumor. It's like, I think it went from like 4 tumors to 1 tumor, and it is so small you can barely see it. And that she even said that the next couple of years she will continue the immunotherapy. But just to even say the next couple of years, as opposed to I've got 3 more months of my life, that is huge. I was so happy to hear that news. Because like I said, I want to get back to a point where Teddy is completely free and I can go back to making fun of her. But she did tease on her podcast that she pled the fifth when I think it was Erica that was on the show, or maybe it was Tamara, saying, will you come back to Beverly Hills? And I have said this now for many years, even pre-cancer, that Teddy would eventually find her way back to Beverly Hills. When I had Alex Baskin on the podcast 3 or 4 weeks ago, You know what? I think there is a I mean, I think there's more than a possibility because remember, she was kind of even pre the announcing of the cancer, she was staying at Kyle Richards, which I was making the joke of like, God, just how many Kimosabi hats can you have in one property? Because I know Teddy loves Kimosabi and Kyle, I feel like sometimes Kyle has stock in Kimosabi. I feel like that the next house Kyle lives in is just going to be in the shape of a cowboy hat. It'll be branded Kyle. It's Kyle's hat house. So that news was there. But I want to see these people continue in whatever capacity. My question, though, really is after this episode, is Lexi. Will Lexi come back? Will she even be offered? I feel like they have these people that they throw on here and they kind of throw to the wolves in a way. And Lexi's biggest mistake was linking up with Jesse because she could have formed more natural friendships with the other ladies. Now, I think Lexi kind of misspeaks or loses her way at the end of this episode in kind of regards to saying to Ciara, oh my God, we missed our chance to be girls because of this relationship. Maybe in a sense, but you saying that out loud at a table, I think would turn Ciara more off of you than on you, even though I think I know what Ciara meant by that. But I just don't know who would link up with Ciara. I mean, Gabby has had another, I think Gabby's amazing, but she's had another kind of flat season. She's great seasoning, but she's never had a real storyline this season. And Imrul, we found out he was edited out of an episode last week. He is back this week. So we can't say that Bravo has completely erased Imrul because he is back. And also to the point of the reunion where he did not go to drinks with Andy Cohen, is that I think they bring Imrul out in more of a friend of capacity like they do with the Real Housewives. And I think his segment was done and they continued on with the reunion. So I don't know how dramatic that gets, but I'm sure he will talk about the disappointment that he is more than just a fuckboy. But also being a fuckboy, if everybody's on board, if both parties are consenting, there's nothing wrong with being a fuckboy or a fuck girl. Do fuck girls exist? Also, I just realized if there are kids listening to this, turn it off. Could you imagine, like the majority of my listeners are above 50 and under 15? You're like, they're passing so bad it's good around at the playground. Yo, I got Thursday's episode. Yeah, check this shit out. He goes off on Jax. So it'll be interesting with the casting. There is one, Adam Glynn, he does the Hollywood Raw podcast, and he's worked for TMZ. He's like the man on the street getting celebrity interviews, and he's really good at it. He's really likable. I don't know if you know, Adam's been on this show before, but he caught up with Kyle, I think, at the NBC upfronts, and this was great. I want to play some clips of this because he actually gets a hold of Kyle Cooke on the street. Here is a little bit of that interview.
That's all I want.
Do you think she's gonna just like on another level? Do you
she can do anything she wants.
Do you think she comes back, or do you think she goes?
Oh, yeah, Paige will come back. I mean, we got to make it a nice round season 10, and maybe we reassess from there.
I know, because she's just on another level. She's save the day.
Wow.
Okay, so that was Kyle Cooke being asked if Paige will come back because Paige is crushing it, and Kyle was like, "Oh yeah, we got to make it because it'll be the 10th season of Summer House next season." Now, a lot of people said, "Oh, will Summer House get canceled?" Not a shot in hell. They just said a couple weeks ago how well Summer House does on Peacock, and also since I still have energy, I am so fucking pissed. I'm really using language today. I'm so sorry, you guys. Is that these fake flippin' rumors that somebody put, it almost reeks of trying to get engagement. I read something somewhere today that The Valley was getting put on pause and major cast shakeup because of low ratings and something else. And I was just like, this is completely false. The Valley is not being put on pause. And also, same-day ratings do not matter as much as they did 10 years ago. Because Peacock, if you'll go on Peacock right now, The Valley is in the top 10 streaming shows on Peacock. The Valley is going nowhere. It's 2 seasons in, but The Valley is going nowhere. And I hate that. And then we had the Roni cancellation rumor last Friday that Page 6 started. And there is a difference between a network having issues with a show and a network canceling a show. And, it's like we used to wait 2 years in between seasons of The Sopranos on HBO Max, but, the same vibe is happening on Bravo. You just have to wait longer for these seasons if they're trying to figure it out. I mean, they can turn and burn these things and make it real shitty. Like, we've sat through painful seasons of all of the iterations of The Housewives, but I hold hope for, they're trying to actually make it work. They're trying to find the right casting. They're trying, because I hear Rhode Island, which was announced last week, The Real Housewives of Rhode Island, they have a really good cast that is very Italian-centric, which, yes, well, we already have Jersey, but listen, Jersey's going to be on pause for a little bit longer, I think, while they figure it out. I sometimes wonder with Jersey if they're just trying to wait to see if Melissa and Teresa ever mend fences, and then they can figure it out from you mend fences on your own, and then we'll pick back up cameras. And also, I think they're truly afraid to let Teresa go. Folks, I will have you know I am literally wearing a Quince blazer right now. That is right. I am wearing a Quince navy blazer, and I'm going to be wearing this for the remainder of the summer. That is how much I love my blazer, and I love Quince. They always have these kind of go-to things that you will consistently wear, and they're high quality, so they last a very long time. Quince has all things that you actually want to wear. Like, they have organic silk polos, European linen beach shorts, and comfortable pants that work for everything from backyard hangs to nice dinners. I hope I get invited to backyard hangs this summer. Now, the best part, everything with Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than what you would find at similar brands. How do they do this? They do this by working directly with top artisans, cutting out the middleman. Quince gives you luxury pieces without the crazy markups. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. They truly do it all. So elevate your closet with Quince. Go to quince.com/sobad for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/sobad to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/sobad. I truly believe they are afraid. But also, she has such star quality. I mean, all joking aside, Teresa is on the Mount Rushmore in some ways of housewives. But I think they're let's see what happens with Teresa. Let's see what happens. But Adam caught up with Kyle, and this was really good. I actually reposted it on my TikTok because he gets so much good information in this really on the street interview. Lindsay Hubbard was walking out of the upfronts and walked by, and Adam shot a question at her of where are you living now? Because I guess Lindsay just got an apartment in the same building as Kyle and Amanda. And he's like, who are you living with? Hoping, and she goes, my daughter. And he's like, nobody else? And she goes, no. So that means that Lindsay is still not living with her baby daddy. And in the preview for next week's episode, she talks about that even if they didn't have the baby, or if they didn't have the baby, she doesn't know if she would still be with this gentleman. What's his name? Turner Cooke? Listen, Lindsay is a one-woman war machine. She is going to get shit done. And it's either sink or swim. And if you are not swimming with her, you are going to sink, and she is going to keep swimming. Listen, it is Freedom Day. By the way, we're going to name this podcast the Freedom Podcast. Like Lindsay had the Freedom Dinner at the end of this week's episode. My God, this is the thing with Lindsay, because most time in real life, I think if we were all in that situation in person, you'd be like, oh, come on, Lindsay. We've all had those people who are like, oh, are you going to keep hitting this nail on the head? But as a viewer, I love it so much because it's so out of pocket and out of anything. I would never have the balls or probably the inclination to do something like that, to rub it in Carl's face. And Lindsay just pedal to the metal, baby. And I love that it's just another reason. If you stick things out, things will change. Now everybody's Paige respects Lindsay. Paige can joke around with Lindsay, which my favorite rumor is that Paige and Lindsay are both going to Roni, which, by the way, I mean, that's amazing. I mean, all kidding aside, Paige, Amanda, and Lindsay, I mean, let's graduate Summer House to Roni. Let's have that be a feeder system into Roni. And I'll even get you more upset. I still think to this day that Lala would actually work on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I can sense all of you groaning and rolling your eyes, but think about it. The girl acts like she's given reads all the time. She I think throw her into Beverly Hills. But it was so funny. Cynthia Bailey, when she was on this week, we talked about the fact of she was talking to Nene Leakes a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about how they would eat everybody up on Beverly Hills. Like if we swapped out Beverly Hills and Atlanta or even Salt Lake and Potomac or, even Salt Lake and Beverly Hills, if you flipped any of these ladies, sometimes like the Beverly Hills women have it so easy. You barely get any sort of active, intense drama. Like they're already wearing so much armor when they go into scenes that you can't touch most of these ladies. Like you'll get Sutton on a technicality of not being able to communicate at all. But other than that, I really like if you watch some of these other shows, I mean, shit, like we had little Kenya making like poster boards of actual pornography with Britt Eady. Like imagine if that shit happened on Beverly Hills. My God, by the way, in my sick head, I'm like, I pray for that. I pray for that. So that's the questions as we end the season. And also, I'm not so into, I know sports a little bit. I'm not completely idiotic. But is this how like the end of a sports season? Is it like the end of a Bravo season where we start really hyper speculating on who is going to stay and who's going to leave? And also, I've always thrown out that idea of these people need to train in the off season. Like you need to get in shape mentally and physically. You need to learn your P's and Q's. How many people do you think Jesse has slept with since filming of Summer House? Like those are the things. And I'm so big on like I have a weird thing with numbers where I like to keep track of like how many movies I watch, how many albums I listen to, and I keep it all in my like Evernote notes, and I'll write all of these things down. But I if there is a heaven, I've always said this, I hope there is a heaven machine where you can get just inane statistics, like, hey, how many people did Jesse Solomon sleep with in the fall of 2024? Like, I would love to know. The people want to know. What if I'm just legitimately the only person that wants to know? Also, Jesse and Wes were on Watch What Happens Live last night. Oh man, dude. And by the way, why was West? He looked like he was so jolly in his cheeks. It was just like, I don't know how much rouge he was wearing, but he just like his cheeks were like bright red. I felt like they were like stop signs. And then you had Jesse going, "Oh, I'm so I guess I." Mopey McGee, man. This guy will try. I just love in this episode, we're going to talk about it when we get to that, but like the way he tries to flip things so immediately with like, and he'll just put out breadcrumbs to try to get other people, not even necessarily on his side, but against somebody else. And he does it masterfully. And I guess the question I have in my head, is he aware that he's doing this, or he's just done it since childhood and it is so ingrained in him that he can't do anything but that? And I think letting him off easy would be to say he's just done that since childhood, because I don't like the alternative of this dude legitimately is trying to psychologically fuck with people. But he does it in a fun, charming way. It's not at a Jax Taylor level yet. But can you imagine, like, by the way, you know what would shape Jesse? We send Jesse over to Real Housewives of Atlanta. Spend a summer with those ladies. I think they would get you in shape, Jesse Solomon. Okay, happy Friday. Let's get into this. We're only 22 minutes in. Okay, so this week's episode, Summer House Season 9, the penultimate episode. This is called The X-Files. And you guessed it, they spelled X as EX, The X-Files. I saw what you did there, and I loved it. By the way, they could have stepped it up even one step further and said The Lex Files, like L-EX, Lex, Lexi. And the description the cable company gives us says, things get tense as Jesse blames issues with Lexi on another housemate. So very succinct, but I will accept it. I thought that was a decent little synopsis there. So we start Summer House with where we left off last week, where Jesse had pulled Ciara for a chat on the beach. And Jesse immediately goes into trying to make Ciara feel bad about his behavior. He's like, I thought our friendship was a little deeper than you being over me. And she's like, okay. It hurts me when you call me like a two-faced liar. That's really it hurts me when you call out my own behavior. And then he sighs. He goes, it's really upsetting me. And he has his sunglasses on and he's looking at the sand. And Ciara's like, hey, listen, we've had a friendship. I take my friendship super seriously. I don't call people my friends just to say that they're my friend, just to make sure that they're my friend. How many times can we say the word friend? But she's like, unless it actually aligns. And I want you to be in a relationship and have that most fun and all of that. I'm never going to be mad or upset. So like, and he's like, what? I feel like you're mad and upset right now, kinda. And she's like, I am mad and upset because you say you were joking about it, but then you're like, well, I'm getting yelled at by her. Like, what does that even mean? Which, once again, I said this in the Valley recap, we've got to really revisit what joking actually means. Joking is usually somebody saying something and then somebody laughs. And Jesse's concept of a joke is like having somebody suck his toe. Like, you didn't get the brilliance of that joke. But Jesse's like, I think that just like at that time, she was hearing a lot of things that I was doing wrong, and that was just one of them. And it was a way to take blame off me and put it on her. So I was just trying to... And then he sighs again, you guys. He goes, I was just trying to get myself out of trouble, which is like a half truth there, and stop myself from getting into more trouble with that bird, with that taskmaster Lexi. Anyways, they're watching at the picnic table, the gang, and they're like, how's Ciara doing? Does she look good? Is she crying? And they're like, well, she doesn't look happy. And by the way, Lexi is there. So I don't know what is like, if you were dating somebody like Jesse Solomon, would you be upset that somebody grabbed his arm, or would you be upset that he actually pulled another girl to have an intense conversation in sight 20 feet from you? So Jesse's like, I shouldn't have made a joke, even though I'm hysterical. And I think that I can just communicate better and be an adult about it and call you and say that. Ring, ring. Hey, Ciara, it's me, Jesse. I just wanted to call you like I said I would and talk with you in a communication style. But he's like, we had that relationship already, Ciara. And Ciara's like, yeah. Well, I just hope our friendship isn't like, I'm not trying to minimize what I did by any means, but like, people fuck up. So, hey, people die out there. And I just want to, like, this isn't that, you know? And I hope we can realize this is like mainly minor, right? I hope that I can improve, right? And be an even better friend and make it up to you. And hopefully one day we can do that both in the nude. But Ciara's like, yeah. Listen, this is what I love about Summer House, is that nobody truly has like the higher ground. Like there's chaotic good, chaotic evil, all of that stuff. But at the same time, it's not like any of these people are like brainiacs. No offense to the cast of Summer House, but you know, it's like they all have their faults. It's just that Jesse's is so glaringly out there. And the thing is, it's on a lot of the cast as well, because like Lexi had it right the first time in getting away from Jesse last episode. And then she went back to him, which is like, that's a bad on her. It always has to be on the girl's shoulders, unfortunately. But Ciara is kind of like, it's like, dude, this dude is going to play in your face. He is going to continue this behavior, and he is eventually going to make you feel so comfortable that you are going to be forced to make out with him at some point. And then he is going to break your heart. But Ciara's like, I appreciate you saying sorry, and I appreciate you making the effort and having something to say and trying to communicate. Show about communication, folks. But she's like, it's not irreparable. Do I feel a little salty? Yeah, but I'll get over it. So Jesse has escaped once again, and then all of a sudden Jesse flashes that 100-watt smile. He's like, see all my teeth? Look at my teeth! And he's like, yay. And then he does a little stupid shoulder dance, and he's like, you can't get rid of me. That's what Jesse says to his STDs. Ayo, allegedly. That was a joke. It's Friday. Let me have fun. But then he's like, you're spicy, Ciara. I think that's why I like you so much. And Ciara's like, obviously you can't handle it. I'm like, Ciara, do not joke flirt with him. Don't. And then Jesse's like, no, I can handle it. I just respect the shit out of you. I think you're amazing. Which, by the way, this is he's doing it again. Like, this is exactly the minor flirtation that Jesse Solomon does. And then he goes, give me a goddamn hug. Not before I wash your mouth out, Mr. Solomon. So they hug, but Ciara's like, are we allowed to hug? And he's like, yeah, we're allowed to hug. Just like she was allowed to grab your elbow a couple weeks ago, you doofus. Anyway, so they are officially made up. Ciara is still in the spider's web. So now we cut back to the house and everybody's off into their bedrooms. By the way, Ciara's bedroom once again looks like a tornado has ripped through there. It is truly frightening. Like, Ciara is on the come up, but at the same time, we need to get somebody to clean the room. And then West is lying in his bed on his phone looking at his computer, both devices. I respect that. And Jesse is spooning Lexi on his bed, and he's like, my apology to Ciara was just so heartfelt and genuine, just like off the jump, and she just like couldn't take it. And Lexi's like, what did you say? And Jesse's like, she said to me, she's like, I'm just trying to make it through these 2 weeks and like move on. And I was like, what the fuck? And it makes me feel like we're just fucking show friends. And like, that really hurt my feelings. And he's doing this while he's like, kind of like putting little hearts on her boobs with his finger. He's like fully, like, this is so Creepville. And West is just sitting over there. I mean, West has to deal with some trauma just from being in this bedroom with them cuddling for the entire summer. But he's like, oh, she really hurt my feelings. Once again, it is not Jesse Solomon's fault. Jesse couldn't be like, yeah, I was an idiot. I apologize. We're good now. He's like, no, she came in really hard at me and it really hurt my feelings because I'm always a victim. Lexi in the Talking Head says, I want everybody to be friends in this house. And if he genuinely does still want to be friends and friendly with Ciara, whatever, go for it. But I think I just have questions. And I will say, if you are getting fed this kind of stuff in your ear, you would be confused. It would be like whiplash of like, wait, what? You're good? You're up? But like, wait, you're saying that she was this hard on you and that your feelings are hurt? So listen, I'm not saying that Lexi is so far from perfect, but it would make sense that she would have questions of why is this guy so pressed about his relationship with Ciara? And it just shows you like how he really magnifies and obsesses over things that he's done and the way it makes people feel, but not in a positive way, if that makes sense. So Lexi is consoling Jesse and says, obviously some friendships come in waves, right? And he's like, yeah, I guess. Can we do butt stuff later? Please? Please? Now it's the next morning. They went to bed. It's Sunday, 8:31 a.m. Lindsay and Gabby just fly out of there to get back to the city. And we see the summer house beginning to arise. We have those black and white night vision cameras. And in Lexi's room, Jesse's there. And he's like, you're the only girl I want to kiss in the morning. Bullshit. Can we, like, bullshit. Come on, there's got to be a class action lawsuit. There's got to be so many women out there that he has said this same exact thing to. You're the only girl I want to kiss in the morning except for the other 30 girls I did. Oh, and this was the other product placement, you guys, is that there's like a big like Dunkin' Donuts delivery and there's like a big scene where they're all picking out their donuts. And I'm like, I see you. This is advertising. You paid for this. You're all picking out a donut, talking about how good the Boston cream at Dunkin' Donuts is. I see it. I know what you're doing. I see the Uber Eats bags. You're making money on top of money. So now we have like a little thing where they're all eating donuts as a summer house family. So we're back in the city and we're doing events in the city. This is why I think they could fit into the Roni cast. And Amanda Batula is at the like a little launch party for her Amanda Batula swim line. And everybody's there. And she says, I'm having a preview event for my swim line to celebrate this big business venture. And she says, this is a big step in my life. And she says, the line isn't launching until February, but I want to show people that I actually did it. So Paige can't say founder and CEO of what, which was a great Paige line against Danielle. Was it last season or the season before where Danielle's talking to Paige and Danielle's like, as founder and CEO. And then in a talking head, Paige was like, of what? Of what? Which is funny. It's cruel, but it's funny. And then Amanda in the talking head's like, no, I'm kidding. So Amanda is super excited. Her parents are there. Her dad comes up. Like her dad's name's Frank. He does look like an older version of Kyle. Take that however you want to take that. West is there in some sort of camouflage, like unbuttoned shirt getup. Very West Wilson. Lindsay is there, very pregnant. Danielle is there. I hope they didn't tell that CEO joke around Danielle. Ciara's there. Ciara looks like she is just wearing a handkerchief as a skirt. And then Lexi comes in with her sister. I'm telling you, they have invested in Lexi's family. So that is an argument that they might keep her around on Summer House or do something else with her family, because I'm like, why are we seeing? But I mean, at the same point, she hangs out with her family 24/7. So I guess we have to see her regardless, right? So they walk in. We got Paige DeSorbo coming in. The gang is all here, folks. Jesse goes up to West and he's like, hey, how are you? How was your week? And West looks like he's like completely disassociating. He looks like he's like deep in thought. He's like, good. It's been chill. And Jesse's like, you're looking very handsome. This Jesse cannot, like, he will hit on anything, guy, girl, anything. But he's like, you look very handsome, West. And West is like, really? And then Jesse's like, I think there could be a move for you where like you try shaving the mustache one time, which by the way, kudos to Jesse for not being like, can I get a mustache ride on that thing? Wes is like, do you think I could shave my mustache? I feel like I have a baby face. And Jesse's like, no, I think you have a very handsome face. These are just two jokers just gassing each other up, right? And Wes is like, thank you. And Jesse's like, you're covering it with a mustache and a beard. It works, but switch it up. I love West Wilson, the thought of him looking in the mirror and just replaying everything Jesse Solomon told him. Would I look cool with just a baby face? Anyways, Wes is like, I guess I have to ask you, how are you? And he's like, I'm great. I'm just happy compared to the last couple weeks. Wes is like, fuck yeah. I went through a breakup, getting back together, a friend breakup, a friend getting back together. And Wes is like, are you guys besties now or something? No, we're not besties, but we did hang out at the US Open and we see a big toothy grin picture of him and Ciara at the US Open. And he's like, yeah, it was just like, I had to remind her that she likes me as a friend. And Wes is like, that's good. And did you see Lexi this week, Jesse? And Jesse's like, yeah. And then Wes is like, alone or with her family? And he's like, well, no, I mean, we went to dinner last night, just her and I. And Wes is like, oh, good. All right. And then cut to Gabby. Gabby is talking to Lexi, and Gabby's like, what's the latest with you and Jesse? And Lexi's sister jumps in, and she's like, I'm going to get a line on Bravo. Says, well, he did buy Mom and I tequila last week. Well, yeah, he'll do anything to grease the wheels. And then Kyle's going to make a big speech for Amanda's swim line. He's like, ladies and gentlemen, it's DJ Kyle Cooke. All right. Anyways, Amanda Batula swim. He's a man of few words, folks. He's a man of very few words. Everybody claps for Amanda. It's a very sweet moment. She just says, I wanted to thank you all for coming out and supporting me. This was a small dream of mine. Kyle likes to call it a passion project, LOL. But she says it quickly became a reality. And I could not be happier. South Moon Under, which is the line that she paired up with. Thank you for supporting me because I will be supporting women with big breasts. In a talking head, Amanda says, I felt really lost last year. I was struggling professionally and mentally. And the combination of putting myself out there and starting this company and being on my medication, she just says it really kind of turned around and changed things. She says she feels like she is starting to find herself again and figure out who I am and what I want. And it is very empowering. And by the way, like I said this every week, you can see it, man. Like, like when they tell like, hey, your skin looks great. Drop your skincare routine. I'm always like, I watch Amanda this season and I'm like, drop your medication routine. I'm like, don't be stingy with that. Let us all know what you're on because I love it. Kyle then once again goes to big boobs. Ha ha ha. So we get out of that scene. It's Friday, August 30th, 1:24 p.m. The gang is on the road to get to the summer house for one last ride. Jesse and Wes are in the car. They're talking about it's going to be a big weekend. And Wes is like, does it feel like it went fast? this summer? And Jesse's like, not particularly this summer. And Wes is like, I feel like I blinked. Wes goes, I think in the beginning, obviously, I had a little obstacle. And we cut to the first episode where Ciara wouldn't hug him. But it's just been more fun throughout the summer, Wes. It's been more fun not getting myself into trouble. Jesse cannot say the same for himself. Wes is like, so we might as well pop top, which I guess is slang for kids. The kids are saying about just really letting loose. And then Jesse's like, I would love to pop top. And then Wes is like, lock it in. And he puts his pinky out. And then Jesse interlocks his pinky. And Jesse's like, boys weekend. And then Jesse kisses his hand. Wes kisses his hand. And I'm like, dude, just fuck already. My God. It's like the White Lotus Brothers all over again. Like, we're doing like pinky handshakes with a kiss involved? What? We cut over to Lindsay, Lexi, and Gabby in a car. And Lindsay is asking how things are going with Jesse. I love that's the one thing you can ask Lexi about is, how are things going with Jesse? That is the sign of potentially a bad season on Summer House when they're only talking to you about one thing. Because, yeah, it's a storyline, but if you're new, that could be your only storyline because you could be gone. Anyways, Lexi's saying, like, listen, I called him and I said, oh, one of my best friends is coming over. We're just going to have some drinks with the family. So I asked if he was coming out or not. And it was like 9 p.m. maybe. And he was like, no, I'm going to get a manicure. And everybody's like, what? Excuse me? Zoinks? And Lexi goes, my initial instinct was to like not trust him. And Lindsay's like, I don't think I could trust a man who is getting a manicure at 9 p.m. at night. And the girls share a fun laugh. Lexi goes, I just don't trust him. Like anything that he says, like initially, I'm just like, you're lying. I've just caught you in so many lies. And Gabby's like, that is not good, Lexi. We cut over to Jesse and Wes, and Jesse's like, I'm done arguing with Lexi. Now I'm excited to just be myself and have fun. We cut back to Lexi. Lexi's like, you guys, I am so tired. I'm sick of teaching this man. And Lindsay's like, amen, sister. Freedom dinner. I've had so much patience, she says. It's just gotten to the point where I don't trust him at all. Gabby's like, what's the plan? Do you think it's worth salvaging? And Lexi's like, I think I should probably just end it because I feel like I know me and it just feel like it's inevitably going to end because I don't think he understands what a relationship is. And Lindsay's like, yeah, or what it takes. And she's like, yeah. Cut back to Jesse. Jesse's like, yeah, I'm excited to just date like outside of this house. See what it's like. Oh my God. The confinements of the summer house. It's hard, you guys. Lexi, back to her, goes, I think I'm just going to pull him and be like, hey, like, can we talk? And Lindsay's like, oh, this is going to happen like today, tonight? Which Lindsay is probably like, oh, cool. But also in the back of her head was like, tonight's my big freedom dinner. It's like, I was hoping that the spotlight was going to be on me a little bit. But Lexi's like, no, I want to do it ASAP. And by the way, I'm sure the Summer House producers are like, yeah, you are doing it tonight. You are not waiting until Sunday. You do it now so we can film the rest of the weekend. Lexi says, I think after reflecting on the summer, I'm actually realizing all of the stress and like chaos and drama I felt like stems from him. And Gabby's just like, damn. I do love Gabby's like interjections. I just wish she had more of a storyline. So obviously we now know that Lexi is going to pull the plug once again on this relationship. She got it right the first time last episode, but now she is going to do it for good. So Jesse and Wes get there first. They're very excited and I'm sure do some kind of weird handshake that involves a kiss. So Imrol gets there on his motorcycle, not edited out of this episode. Carl gets there in his soft bar Sprinter van. And every time anything soft bar related, like the Sprinter van, all I'm doing is just like, how much money was that? And he's doing a bunch of like pop-up events even because like the brick and mortar isn't ready yet. And his business partner is there and they've got like events all weekend. Carl brings in sandwiches for the afternoon snack. And I'm like, once again, I'm like, dude, who's paying for it? Carl, don't be feeding the summer house, man. Put this into soft bar. I have spent so much time thinking about how soft bar can be profitable. And then I was coming up with like, he's doing like these events at places like Barry's Boot Camp. What if you need a partner with some big like Equinox gym or something like that and have like the Carl smoothie? I don't know. Not like the Haley Bieber. We've just got to figure it out because I'm stressing out about this soft bar shit. And anyways, they go in the house and somebody's like, wait, Amanda goes, wait, did you see Lindsay's Instagram post? And Carl's like, yeah, I've been sent it. I've been sent it by friends. And Wes is like, you're not blocked? And they're like, oh, I found it. What a difference a year makes. The post starts. And Wes is like, what the fuck? It's a goddamn novel. And I don't think he was upset that Lindsay wrote it. I just think West hates novels and reading in general. But everybody's like, oh my God, it's the 1 year anniversary post. And listen, I know we've got all the time in the world, folks. So buckle in. This is going to be a 3-hour podcast because I am going to read you Lindsay's Instagram post. And this is from, what is the date here? August 30th, 2024. And it says 1 year later. What a difference a year makes. Mind blown emoji. Today is the 1 year anniversary of the day that changed the course of my life forever. 9/11. No, she goes, when I think back to this day last year, it was one of the most difficult, humiliating, and traumatic events of my adult life. But although the unknown of my future was terrifying, 1 year later, I can honestly say I'm happier and pregnanter. No, she goes, I am happier than I have ever been because I focused on my own goals, success, and happiness. I am proud of just how much I accomplished in this last year. Lindsay Hubbard might be a good life coach, actually. August 30th, 2023, breakup / the beginning of what was to come. September 2023, still went on my bachelorette trip with all my girlfriends, which gave me the strength and confidence to start moving forward. October 2023, travel, Denver, DC, Nashville, LA. November 2023, BravoCon, CMAs, looked at Nashville houses, started going on dates. December 2023, closed on my house. January 2024, reconnected with my man and started going on dates with him / Bella Mag cover shoot. February 2024, installed and kicked off Nashville house being ready for rent / Summer House season 8 premiere. March 2024, first vacation with my boyfriend, decided to stay in my apartment and renew my lease. April 2024, got him to not pull out. No, she goes, found out I'm pregnant / 2 weddings / 2 magazine cover shoots. May 2024, filmed the Southern Summer House. Oh, May 2024 would have been great if she had been like, recorded So Bad It's Good with Ryan. No, she said, filmed the Summer House season 8 reunion. Genetic testing came back normal and healthy. June 2024, epic Cheez-It ad. All Cheez-It ads are epic. Italy trip, found out we're having a girl. 2 more weddings, sold wedding dresses for charity. July 2024, pregnancy announcement, started filming Summer House season 9. August 30th, 2024, today, I am a proud mom to be and have a beautiful baby growing inside of me, which is something I have wanted my whole life. I am dating a wonderful, caring, loving, successful, and handsome man with a huge dong who loves me. She didn't put the dong part. Loves me and our cub so much. I own a house and made a smart short-term and long-term investment for myself. I have done some epic brand campaigns, not just because I'm a woman, but because I'm smart, savvy, and have fun with brands I love. Let me be your proof that everything happens for a reason and that the universe has a bigger plan for you, even if you can't see it in the moment. It will all work out the way it's supposed to. 80,000 likes on that. So yeah, that was the post, and it is a very Lindsay thing to do, but I fully believe that Lindsay believes everything. Well, I mean, these are actual things that happened to her, but I believe this is classic Lindsay. If you've watched Summer House from season 1, how would you not expect this? And this is why I argue if Lindsay doesn't go to Roni or another show, that we keep her in the Summer House. In fact, I don't want anybody to leave. I want Jesse there. I want even Lexi there. But everybody's like freaking out reading this Instagram post because she posted it on the drive up to the Summer House, right? So Amanda's like, she's always loved a timeline. Lindsay does love a timeline, but they are just going through this going like, what? Wes is like, Jesus, dude. Anyways, we cut to the car with Lexi, Lindsay, and Gabby, and Lexi's like, oh my God, Lindsay, this post is crazy. And Lindsay goes, I would like to acknowledge that this was probably the most impactful day of my life that changed the course of the rest of my life forever. She's not wrong. It's just funny that it's Lindsay, and it's funny that in no ordinary world would Carl and Lindsay or people that were engaged still have to share a summer house if it weren't for reality television. And that's why these things become like these these cages of disaster, doom, and despair. But Lexi's like, you're hosting a dinner tonight, Lexi? And Lindsay hits us with it for the first time. I'd like to refer to it as my freedom dinner. Freedom! I won't let you down. I will not give you up. But Gabby's like, what? And Lindsay's like, because it set me free and allowed me to go pursue everything that I pursued this last year, see the timeline. Now all my dreams are coming true. And that wouldn't have happened if that small, bald Carl hadn't fucking humiliated me. But she says if I was still in that relationship. And Gabby's like, it is a hard day for penises on August 30th. So Lindsay's laughing. Cut back to Carl. Carl's like, if that's what she's got to do to put her story out there. I'm sorry, but when you put something out there in that depth of detail, like it is screaming something else inside of you, very deep, dark in your body, that is having a hard time with the reality of what actually fucking happened. I will say Carl is a little bit in the wrong here because yes, it is embarrassing because it involves him, but the majority of that post was about literally all of these other things that she accomplished because of this man. And yes, that is not the totality of the story that Lindsay is sharing on that Instagram post, but Carl's riled up a little bit. He's like, period. And then Lindsay comes in. He's like, I gotta go. No, but they actually do walk in and they're all getting settled. Lindsay's like, what's up, fam? What up? Lindsay is hugging West and he's like, I just read your timeline post. And she's like, you did? And he's like, it was. And she's like, are you going to tell me something or just that you read it? And he goes, no, I just said I read it. I mean, and Lindsay goes, you read it? You didn't see it? And he's like, no, I read it. And Lindsay's like, I don't know what your point was, West. West is getting a little confident where he can come across a beast like Lindsay Beast. So Jesse like hugs Lexi and her back is hot. He helps her with her bags and they're kind of laughing by the car because he says her bag is really heavy, which by the way, this is Jesse subtly going, look, your bag's so heavy. What do you girls pack? All the boys are out by the pool and Wes is like, yeah, I told Lindsay I read her timeline and she was like, what about it? And I was like, I read it. And Kyle's like, yeah, dude, you can't just casually go into it. Wes is like, she just posted it right before she got here. I thought that was her whole fucking point. We just read it. But fuck me. Now Lindsay's upset at me. Inside, Amanda tells Lindsay, I saw your post. And then she goes, no, I mean, I read your book. And Lindsay laughs. This is she's like, ha ha ha. Like Lindsay laughs at herself. This is where you can tell how good Amanda is doing, where she can throw that barb out there and it's completely received. That's why I think this gang has a lot of years left. But Amanda's like, I thought we were done with timelines, Lindsay. And Lindsay's like, no, now my only timelines are like reflective timelines of history. So Jesse now goes to join the boys after helping Lexi with her heavy ass suitcase. Inside, Lexi tells Lindsay, I don't know where to do it. Where do I break up with Jesse? Where do I do it? The boys are talking about firing up a fire pit, just manly shit, just cavemen looking for fire. And they're like, oh, do we have wood? And then Jesse goes, Lexi would. And everybody's like, oh, God, dude, just cut the shit. Like, Emerald's like, every second you got to talk about her. Ugh. Now, back in the house, Lindsay announces to the kitchen, if one were to have a conversation with someone where they didn't want other people to hear, where would they go? And Amanda goes outside of the Hamptons. Amanda Batula's on fire. Potentially has turned into the funniest person on Summer House. Lexi tells Amanda about how she doesn't really trust Jesse, so she's got to end it. In a talking head, Amanda says, first it was toe sucking. Now it's the 9 p.m. manicure. I think Jesse needs to keep his fingers and toes to himself. Ba-dum-bum, rim shot. But Amanda's like, if Lexi doesn't feel like he's the one, like, girl, just go on to the next. Like, you're going to be fine. But I'm so worried about Jesse Solomon. He's going to be so heartbroken. And guys, this is what confuses me. Like, she seems genuine in this. Like, his ego is going to be heartbroken. His heart is not going to be heartbroken. Like, this is all ego. And this dude, I will guarantee that he slept with somebody within a week and a half to 2 weeks after this alleged breakup. But they're like, should I do it now? And she just wants to rip the Band-Aid and get it over with, right? They're like, you got this, girl. You got this. Outside, Jesse's giving a big old smile. And Carl's like, are you nervous about the summer coming to an end? Are you looking forward to it? He's like, I'm looking forward to it, Carl. to see how we fare in regular life. I was planning to ask her to be my girlfriend. I don't know. Something feels off. So now all of a sudden something feels off to Jesse, which in the car ride, he didn't express that something felt off. So I'm curious where the something felt off because they had niceties when she came in. So I'm wondering where this vibe came from all of the sudden. But I also I was going to ask her to be my girl. I was going to ask her to homecoming. Like, what are you talking about? But Jesse goes, no, Carl goes, I noticed that when she came in, the energy was different. And Kyle's like, what's off? I wasn't picking up on any cues at Amanda's event. I don't know how many cues Kyle picks up in general about anything. And he's like, yeah, Amanda's swim event, everything was cool. And he's like, no, we were totally good then. And Emerald's like, that's only been 2 days, dude. Lexi goes out, and while she's leaving, she smiles to the girls she's like, oh, this is going to happen, right? Amanda's like, I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up. So Amanda approaches Jesse in front of the guys. She's like, can I talk to you? And he's like, yep. And Carl's like, is he in trouble? Hey, Lex, is he in trouble? And she goes, possibly. And Jesse's like, that's a good start. And then she goes, Kyle, can I use your balcony? This is very Romeo and Juliet. If Romeo and Juliet fucking hated each other because Romeo got his toe sucked by Mercutio. Anyways, now all the girls inside are trying to peep where she's going. And Gabby's like, I don't think he's going to take this well. I feel like I'm missing a piece of Jesse that they don't show on this show. I just don't. Anyways, they sit down in front of this balcony, right? We cut to commercial. Oh, guys, it's so intense. We come back from commercial. Everybody's like, oh my God, what's happening? What's gonna happen? And so they're face to face, mano y mano. And Lexi goes, I feel like we just need to chat and realign. I don't love Lexi's choice of words in a lot of what she says in this episode, a chance to realign our chakras. But all the guys are like, oh my God, dude, she looks angry from afar. Now, at this point, Ciara and Paige, or Ciara pulls up, and then Paige pulls up a little bit after this. I think do they have later call times? But Amanda grabs Ciara, is like, hey, we have news to share with you. Get this. Lexi is breaking up with Jesse right now. And Ciara's like, oh, okay. What did he do now? And they're like, oh, he didn't do anything. It was just she had it, Gabby says. But then we talk about more important things like Ciara's hair looking great. We cut back to Lexi. Lexi's like, I'm looking for a relationship that's deep and I feel connected to them. And I just feel like we, unfortunately, haven't been able to break that. Even though I try so hard to kind of get deep with you and feel like you're my person, and I always give you the benefit of the doubt. And I'm always trying to figure out how I can a lot of likes, make whatever you say make sense in my head. Jesse now pulls off his sunglasses. You know it's serious when this man pulls off his sunglasses. And she goes, I feel like you actually aren't ready for the relationship that I'm looking for. But by the way, isn't that what we encourage from all people is direct communication? So he just stares at her, perplexed. And he goes, so I take it you don't want to date anymore? And she shakes her head no. She goes, I just need to be somebody that with somebody that I can trust. And without any doubt in my mind, the guys are like, I feel like we look like we're watching a fucking football game right now. Kyle's like, I feel like we need binoculars. Jesse goes, when we broke up last time, which already was an LOL. When we broke up last week, I was just like, okay, this girl means a lot to me. And I knew that, but it really put it into perspective. But I thought we were getting better. 7 weeks, we're heading in a good direction. So I'm surprised. Kyle says he's freezing his titties off, so he's going to go get a sweatshirt. Lexi goes, I've given you so many chances that I would not give anyone else. Just catching you into some lies or you not telling the truth. It's just getting to the point where I'm just I don't trust him. And Jesse's like, what changed between the time we spoke and now? Because I feel like I've been making a good effort to abide by all the rules that you kind of set out. I hate that shit when abide by all the rules. Dude, be a man. She didn't set forth the 10 commandments of Lexi. Once again, it's it's putting it on her of she is such this ogre, this taskmaster, right? anyways, Kyle goes in talking to the girls, and they're like, what's going on out there? Lindsay tells Ciara that, oh yeah, Lexi got the ick. And Ciara's like, oh, she got the ick. Oh, damn, that is way different, Ciara says, than we're just breaking up. And then Kyle's like, wait, what? And Lindsay's like, yeah, she didn't want to go all weekend, like with him being touchy-feely with her. And Ciara's like, oh, she got the ick. And Kyle is befuddled. He's like, what's the ick? How does even, like, I don't even I know what the ick is. Ick, they always used to say this on old seasons of Love Island, but yeah, it's when you're grossed out by a dude. I mean, I guess you can get an ick from a girl too, but it's primarily men, because I think we give women more things to have icks over. But I love that Kyle does. Of course, Kyle wouldn't know. And Ciara's like, oh, you know, when you said you wanted a DJ and we said we got the ick, that was that. And Kyle's like, yeah, that's why I'm like, what is this? how is that an insult? Back to Lexi goes, the other night I was like, oh, do you want to come over, hang out with my friend? And I'd love for you to meet my friends. And then you were like, no, I'm going to get a manicure. And Jesse's like, good nail care is always going to fuck you in the end. No, he goes, I didn't say that. And Lexi's like, yeah, you did. I think I probably have the text message. Now, listen, I believe Lexi, but at the same time, I'm, I want to see the text. Like, anytime anybody on a reality show says anything about a text, I feel like it should be law where the producers show us the text, period. Like, we have the technology. And Jesse's like, no, I told you when I was getting a manicure that I was getting a manicure. And I was like, I'm going to go get one. Lexi's like, I'm saying that when you said that, I immediately got like a gut punch where I'm like, he's lying again. And then it was like, it's not fair for me to like think that, because you probably could have been doing that. You love your nails. But it was just the fact that the realization that was like my first instinct. And I'm not like that. And all summer you've been saying like, I don't want to change just because I'm in a relationship, all this stuff. You've changed me. I no longer trust people. Now this is getting where it's like a little heavy, where it's like, our finer moments are never captured probably on these cameras. And I think it's like, oh, you've changed. Come on, it's 7 weeks. I don't know. But now with all the attention and all the talking about this relationship, we probably have made it. We've made it way more than it ever should be, which I love about us. But she's like, you've changed me. I no longer trust people like I did at the start of the summer. I love that she's like dated like Drake and like one of the Beckhams. And she's like, you changed me, Jesse Solomon. And then she goes, I feel like the light in me is slowly dying. And Jesse makes a face like, whoa. I will say that was like, whoa, Jesse's extinguishing Lexi's light? But she says, I'm exhausted from teaching you. Where did she pick up the teaching men thing? It's got to be something. It's got to be a TikToker, because she keeps saying, I'm so tired of teaching these men. But she says, I said this all summer. I feel like it's the like emotional whiplash where I'm like, he 1 minute is lying about a girl sucking his toe. And then Jesse's like, I don't appreciate you saying I'm lying. But by withholding the truth of not telling you about that, I can understand how that is a lie. Omission. Yeah, no, I haven't been lying to you all summer. I just don't appreciate the way that you're like calling me a liar and besmirching my character and saying that I'm doing all this bad stuff all summer. I'm the star of Summer House. And Lexi's like, no, I'm saying I just want to date somebody that doesn't do these things. And then Jesse like has that little, like, now he's got a little bone to like chew. He's like, I don't appreciate you trying to tear me down and saying that I was like a really bad partner to you. Jesse has male vocal fry. He's like, it's like, Lexi goes, I never said you were a really bad partner to me. I just said you completely extinguished my light, Oma. I got to get my sparkle back. I just said it makes me feel bad, Jesse. You understand that, right? Like it felt like you betrayed me. And Jesse has his arms crossed and he goes, okay, well, I'm not going to fight you on it. That's for sure. And Lexi goes, I didn't think you were going to. You never do. Which I didn't understand that line, because I'm like, it's been like 7 weeks. Like how many, like this isn't like watching Kyle and Amanda over multiple years. So the gravity is just not there for me, but I do enjoy the storyline. And then in a talking head, Jesse goes, I think she's gaslighting me into thinking that I actually did some really bad stuff. It's like she's making up that I told these half-truths, which are lies, and now I'm a liar. Okay, dude, bro, you are telling half-truths, and that potentially might make you a liar. But my God, it's like Lexi keeps saying, I need to teach, like, I'm so tired of teaching these men. Jesse says gaslighting every couple of episodes. Like I wonder what bro podcast he has got this into his vernacular from, but he's done everything that he says he didn't do in The Talking Head. Even if you don't like Lexi, he's done those things. But she goes, I really hope that we can move forward and like respect each other and just like create a friendship. And she's like, I hope you don't go to the New York Times like that bitch Wes Wilson did. And Jesse in The Talking Head goes, it's messed up. I want everybody to know I'm the victim. Please know that. Jesse is dejected and goes to the boys that are still sitting outside. And they're like, you all right, brother? And he's like, it's just sad. Just sad. I'm single, if that's not clear. They're like, sorry, man. It's all good, Carl. And then Jesse goes to Wes. He goes, can we go to our room for a sec? Wes is like, of course, brother. He goes, I just need to chill. That breakup took it out of me, dude. And so Wes takes his brother Jesse to his bedroom to console him. Lexi is telling the girls about it. So this is like the sad version of summer lovin'. And she goes, last time I was so upset, but this time I wasn't. And Ciara's like, yeah, that's how you know when you're done. So the guys walk past the girls, and it's almost like Jesse needs help from Wes walking up the stairs. And outside, the guys are still talking and going like, oh, they just dated over the summer. And Kyle's like, I haven't been able to make sense out of any part of the relationship other than they hit it off. But like the ups and downs, just like, I never know where they stand. But I don't think Jesse got up to go over and get broken up with, though. So Kyle's like Kyle, you are losing your grip of the summer house. You are supposed to be one of the leaders of the summer house, and you are not. You don't even know what ick is. Anyways, upstairs, Wes is like, lay down, take off your clothes. But Jesse's like, guess I'm sleeping back in here now. Back outside, Kyle's like, hey man, love is complicated. The girls were saying, I don't even want to say it out loud because I don't understand it. Like the girls are saying like Lexi got the ick. Like what? And Carl's like, ick? By the way, this whole scene is like a David Mamet play. And Kyle's like, oh, it's not a breakup. She got the ick. And then Carl gets on a little bit of a soapbox here. He's like, whatever happened to just saying it's a turnoff? Now we have yellow, red, beige flags. We've got icks. Carl, if software doesn't work, you could be a Joe Rogan-esque type. And then Kyle's like, yeah, we got ticks on dicks. I mean, I don't know, man. I just don't know anymore. Kyle goes in a talking head. He goes, I'm just trying to follow along here. And a producer says, let's go over some current dating terms, Kyle. And she goes, orbiting. And he goes, orbiting? What the frick is orbiting? What is roaching? And he's like, well, you're like interested, but then you just go down the drain. And that, I guess, isn't roaching. Let's look up what roaching is together as a family. Listen, I don't know any of this shit either. Roaching is a term with two distinct meanings, one related to dating. It refers to hiding the fact that you're seeing multiple people from a new romantic partner. Okay, the more you know, folks. And then she asks, what is zombieing? Like, I didn't even think zombieing, is that a thing? Let's look up zombieing. It's obviously got to be a thing. Zombieing. Zombieing is a dating phenomenon where someone who has previously ghosted you resurfaces after a period of time, often with no explanation or apology for the initial silence. Oh, I actually love that one. Great. Zombieing. Wow. These kids are so smart. But Kyle doesn't. Well, Kyle's like, when you ghosted, but then he comes back as a zombie? At this point, Paige finally pulls up. I like that Paige is subtly moving her call times to shoot later and later. She's like, bitch, I'll be there when I'm there. Lexi is still talking to the girls and saying, I said I felt more far away from you this entire summer. No, she says that to Ciara. And she goes to all the girls. I felt so far away from all of you. And all summer, I've been telling him I'm so lonely, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what to do because of what he was telling you guys. And again, I would form the same opinion of me that you guys did. Like, I would be like, that bitch is so weird. And Amanda's like, no. But they're all laughing. And also, I will say, I don't completely agree. Like, unfortunately, Lexi was in that position where she invested in this dude instead of investing in relationships. And as somebody with the first season, Emerald fell down this path too. It's just that they couldn't show hardcore pornography to really get the rest of Emerald's journey on Summer House. But with Lexi, it's like, Lexi, part of that is you, but I understand it when you're like hopped up on somebody, right? But it is interesting how Lexi has this all kind of like thought out in her head before this weekend. So Paige comes in, and Paige is going to love the drums, right? So she strolls in and she's like, what's going on? What's happening? And they're like, guess who just broke up with Jesse? And Paige is like, right now? Oh my God. And they're like 20 minutes ago. Back upstairs, Jesse's talking to Wes. I really had feelings for this girl, but like she just made me out to be a liar. And I was like, what was the lies again? And Wes is like, is it just like your like feelings to her being digested as lies? And then Jesse was like, it was the toe, like not telling her about the toe. And Wes is like, oh, okay. Which I guess can be like a lie by omission. And it's like telling half truths in my storytelling to people. Downstairs, Lexi is talking to Paige saying, I said, I hope that we can be friends to him. And Paige is like, that is so nice of you. Upstairs, Jesse's like, I don't really want to be friends with somebody who makes me out to seem like a liar, who like smothers his girlfriends. Oh my God, but he kind of is. Like, wouldn't this be a teachable moment? Downstairs, Paige is like, so is Jesse like crying? And Gary's like, you go check on him. You're innocent. You weren't here. Go check on him. And Lindsay's like, oh, my dinner is here that I ordered for my freedom dinner. Because we forgot the freedom dinner is she ordered sandwiches and Carl had brought afternoon Sammys. So now we're double Sammying up, which I don't think anybody is mad at double Sammys. Paige goes to the room. Are you sad? He's like, yes, I'm sad. Oh, good. It's half of the most powerful podcast in history. Yeah, I'm sad. Thanks for checking up on me, Paige. And he gives Paige a big old hug. The dude loves the attention. Paige is like, what happened? And he's like, I could tell all day that she was off. At first I thought it was her period, but then I got, it might be something else. And then she got here and she asked me to talk and said she doesn't trust me. She told me I lied about so much stuff. It's sad because I was like, we were so close to being on the other side of the summer. If we could have just made it out of this godforsaken summer house and like seen what an actual relationship would be like without you idiots. And he gives a big old Jesse Solomon smile. And Paige is like, hey, I'm in a really healthy relationship. I never see him and I'm about to break up with him, or he's about to break. However, she breaks up with him. And we're going to see that next week's episode in the finale. So now everybody is going up to the room, like Amanda, Gabby, Kyle. They all want a piece of the Jesse Solomon action. So they all hop in and they all gather around. Like Jesse's like, gather around, kids. So now Jesse is probably like, yeah, being broken up with is not too bad. Look how much attention I am getting right now. This is the glory that I do this kind of stuff for, right? Lexi, Gabby, and Emerald, the B team, are downstairs putting plates out for the second Sammy dinner. And Paige is like, I didn't think she was going to end it. And Jesse's like, why did she want to get back together so hard after dumping me so hard? She treated me so badly. We had a great date on Tuesday. And she was like upset that I had a nice time with Ciara. Ciara's like, wait, what? What are you talking about? Why am I getting brought into this? But this is great because we don't have any videotaped evidence of Lexi saying anything about Ciara. But this dude knows the audience he is playing to. This is deception right here. By the way, put Jesse Solomon on the Traitors. This dude would kill it. He would guilt you into not voting him off. But Ciara's like, what? Jesse's like, oh man, I can't believe I said that. I guess I have to say more. Jesse's like, I obviously told her. I was like, it's affecting me that my relationship with Ciara doesn't feel like it's in a good place. And then I was like, we hung out at the US Open and like it felt like our relationship was good and like we're back to being normal friends. Which, by the way, the U.S. Open was before Amanda Batula's swim launch thing, and they were totally fine then. So bullshit. And Jesse's like, and then she was like, how are you just gonna like get over it like that when she's like been rude to West and to me? And Ciara's like, what? Don't believe this man. Do not believe this man. And Ciara's like, how have I been rude to Lexi? She's like, I love she didn't say West. How have I been rude to Lexi? Wes is in the room, by the way. And they're like, what did you say back? And he was like, I was just like, I've been friends with you for a long time. I'm an altruistic friend. I was like, I stuck up for you, Ciara. And she's like, you just care more about your friendships with everybody in the house than like your new relationship with me. You should be protective over me. So, and Kyle's like, is there more to it or is this it? And Kyle's like, what's ick? And Jesse's like, no, it's just like Lexi, I guess, doesn't feel that close with Ciara. Dude, this mother humper. Are you kidding me? Guys, you don't believe this bullshit either, right? Please tell me I'm not alone in this. Downstairs, Lindsay's Freedom Dinner is ready to go. Lindsay has put out all the mayonnaise and mustard packets, ready to go. And Lexi's like, I don't want to go into the room, so you guys should go gather the troops. Back to the room, Ciara's like, well, Lexi was literally just in the kitchen just now saying like she hasn't felt close with all the girls this summer. So which one is it? Because you know what I hate? Inconsistency. Ciara, Ciara, have you not stopped to think for a second that this man is completely lying to you in this moment? Because you literally just talked to Lexi and she was completely fine. Completely fine. Jesse goes, she said, I've been isolating her from the house. And like, I can't really just say to her, I think it's just taking you a minute to like make good friendships with some of these girls. So Jesse was like, no, girl, it'll happen next season. Jesse goes, I just don't want to throw her under the bus. Like, cause now this is going to be a thing. You just did throw her under the bus. And Paige is like, no, we're not going to say anything. And it's like, dude, this guy is like, no, don't say anything to her because half of this shit I am doing another half truth. And Jesse's like, no, Ciara's going to say something. And she goes, I definitely am going to say something. So Gabby comes up and she's like, Gabby's like, everyone's in it? Gabby's like, oh my God, are you filming another season up here? Holy shit, I'm not invited to this either. Everybody starts filtering out of Wes's room, and Wes is like, come here, Jesse, give me a hug. Give me a hug with two hands, brother. Downstairs, Kyle approaches Lexi on the couch and is like, hey, what's going on? And she goes, nothing. And in Ciara's room, Ciara's talking to Paige and Amanda's like, she's upset that Jesse forgave you so easily when you're like rude to her and West. That was it? And Ciara's like, make me out to be a mean girl this summer? Kyle's like, to Lexi, Kyle's like, look, I'm not one to like weigh in and offer up opinions. I'm just like, I want you to know that like, you probably won't be here next season. No, because I want you to know there's no sides in this. Like, we're all trying to be supportive, and it was obviously a little bit of a roller coaster at times. And I certainly didn't know what to make of what was going on because I literally know nothing anymore. Lexi's like, all summer he's been taking my like chances and like my kindness and my love and just to walk all over it. And I've just never done that with him. And Kyle's like, how much of that is Ciara versus other things that he's done? And she's like, wait, what do you mean? And Kyle's like, how much? Because he was referencing like the current state of affairs between him and Ciara, his friendship with her and all that stuff. And she goes, I never mentioned Ciara. I don't care about Ciara. I only care because he cares about it. And like, Kyle's like, wait, so you guys weren't over there talking about Ciara at all? And Lexi's like, no, it did not get brought up one time over there when we broke up. And Kyle's like, all right, wait. Lexi's like, what the fuck? Kyle's like, I'm even more confused than I was before. You ever hear of zombieing? But Lexi goes, we did not have any conversation about Ciara. Now outside, Jesse is talking to Wes, and Jesse's like, I mean, she showed up at our dinner and I was like excited to have like a nice date with her because I'm such a good boy. And the first thing she said, she was like, you go to the US Open with Ciara after saying like you were upset with her on the beach? And Wes is like, but why would she give a fuck about that? And Jesse's like, right, brother. Lexi's like, wait, hold on. Wait, that's not fair, Kyle. For him to say that I'm ending this because of her, that's fucking diabolical. And Kyle's like, wait, no, that's not verbatim. Kyle's like, no, I'm an idiot though. I'm totally an idiot. Back outside, Jesse and Wes, Jesse's like, and all of a sudden you're on good terms with her when like she's made my time here terrible and she's made Wes' time here terrible. Like you don't have protective instincts. And Wes is like, you guys are friends. I don't give a fuck. And then Jesse's like, yeah, because you're fucking normal, brother. Kyle's like inside to Lexi, I don't want to create a game of telephone. I'm just saying there's like clearly, and Lexi goes, he tells half truths to all of you guys. And then you guys all believe it is Bible. Listen, I think Lexi was confused that he was at the US Open with Sarah because he was doing that sad sack bullshit that we saw on the bed earlier, like last weekend, you know, what we talked about earlier, where he's like, I tried to apologize and she came at me so hard. So that is confusing to your romantic partner if all of a sudden you show up to a place with somebody, right? Anyways, Paige is like whispering upstairs still about this relationship. And it's just a mess, you guys, a beautiful mess. Okay, we're at the very end and Lindsay has gathered everybody for the freedom dinner, yet they don't know it is the freedom dinner yet. They're all sitting around the table. Lexi's already fired up. You can tell Kyle's scared. She's going to blurt something out. And Lindsay's like, thank you, everyone, for showing up to dinner tonight. I would like to officially label this dinner as the freedom dinner. The anniversary, and by the way, Paige is already giggling like, here she goes. And Lindsay's like, the anniversary of Carl and I's breakup. And Carl's like, oh, Jesus. And Wes and Jesse try not to laugh. And Lindsay goes, in case you guys didn't look at Instagram today. And Carl's like, I didn't look at Instagram. But I was sent it several times. And Lindsay goes, I'm sure you were. And he goes, thank you for reminding everybody about last year publicly. And Lindsay goes, well. And then Carl goes, in paragraph after paragraph after paragraph, stating a reality that I don't think was reality. So great job. Lindsay goes, this was the day we broke up. No, Lindsay as like a defense prosecutor. This was the day we broke up. No. And Carl's like, yeah, but I'm not sure why you need a post about it to remind everybody. And she goes, why not? It was a terrible, horrible, awful day for me. And he goes, for me as well. And she goes, that's fine. You're welcome to post on Instagram all you want. He goes, I'm just saying, I find it interesting that you post a year later. You're with somebody else. You're pregnant. You moved on. She goes, yes. And you're harboring. I'm not harboring, Carl. I actually reflected, Carl, and cried about how much I achieved this past year. And Carl's like, yeah, you've done a lot. I'm really proud of you. And she goes, yeah, thank you. And he goes, I just think the post was a little too much. And then Kyle's like, maybe not call it an anniversary. I don't know. Like, maybe we need another word for it. And Carl's like, I don't think celebrating what happened last year is. And Lindsay goes, who said that anyone is celebrating? And he goes, this is the freedom dinner. And she goes, well, Lexi and Jesse just went through a tough moment. And Jesse and Lexi are sitting on opposite sides of the table. And at this point, Amanda just coughs. She's like, Amanda chokes. Like, this would be so me at this, like, Paige is like trying not to like crack up. Ciara's laughing. Amanda starts choking to the point where she has to get up and remove herself. And Lindsay's like, guess what, Carl? You are also free. And then tells Jesse, you are also free. Lexi's free. We're all free. Amanda keeps coughing. And Lindsay's like, a lot happened in this past year. Emerald's trying to eat one of the last meals he'll ever have in the summer house, very quietly. Lindsay goes, it was a very traumatic day, humiliating, quite frankly. But I am pregnant, and that is the best thing that could ever happen to me. And I don't think it would have happened if we didn't break up. So honestly, Carl, thank you for setting me free. And she raises a glass. So honestly, so that I could go and accomplish all my dreams. And Carl just shakes his head. He's like, yep. That's I can only dream that you're happy and I'm happy. And I feel like, you know, I've accomplished that and you've accomplished that. And Lindsay goes, okay, well, we are free. This is a freedom dinner. By the way, I do think we should all celebrate freedom dinners in years to come. We've got to mark this date and always have freedom dinners on this date. And then Lindsay goes, Emerald, why don't you Lindsay goes, Emerald, why don't you give a weird speech? And Emerald says, I'm not sure I can follow up that. And then Lexi goes, I got a speech. Oh, our little Lindsay in training. And Lexi goes, and this one is only for Jesse. And Jesse's like, oh no. Ciara, see how she is? And then Lexi goes, stop saying things that aren't true. I didn't say anything that wasn't true. You saying that I broke up with you because Ciara? And Ciara looks once again. I'm like, dude, I can't. Why do people keep saying my name? And just like, that's not what I said. She goes, Kyle said you talked about Ciara a lot in a way of us breaking up. That's weird. That has nothing to do with anyone else other than you and your actions. And Ciara goes, oh, that was a little twisted if you heard it from Kyle. And Amanda goes, what are you doing, Kyle? What are you doing? And he goes, I didn't do anything. Can I just say something for a sec? And she goes, it's not your fight, Kyle. And Lexi goes, no, he was checking on me. And he said, I was confused. And Kyle's like, I assumed that some of your conversation out on the deck had to do with Ciara because a lot of the conversation upstairs had to do with Ciara. And he goes, no, it had nothing to do with Ciara. And then Paige goes, I will defend Jesse on this. Upstairs, he wasn't speaking ill of you. He was saying how sad and upset he was. He definitely wasn't running his mouth. I am so confused. What the fuck am I watching? I feel like I'm being gaslit right now. I will use Jesse Solomon's overused word to be like, wait, he was talking shit. This is exactly what Lexi's problem was also. He was talking it. What am I not seeing? What are they not showing us? Even Paige is standing up for Jesse in this moment. And Ciara's like, yeah, we're kind of like chatting about what happened, how he's feeling. And then somehow it gets brought up about like us hanging out on Monday. And Lexi goes, well, on Sunday, he was saying he dislikes you. And then I was like, okay, well, I can see why you're having these feelings. And Jesse's like, no, I said I disliked the way our conversation ended. And Lexi's like, you said I'm disliking her. Okay, well, then maybe again, it's your communication skills. Because then I go into protective mode for you because I thought we were in a mutual relationship where we protect each other. And he's like, I showed up to our dinner and you were upset that Ciara and I had gotten to a good place. And she's like, that's not why. That's not what I said, Jesse. You were saying that you actually are disliking her. And I said, okay, that makes sense. Her and West have issues. And yeah, this summer, because of you, her and I have not been able to be besties. Poor choice of words and a little bit of a weird statement, but whatever. And Jesse's like, okay, so why is that my fault again? And Lexi goes, you're trying to pit us all against each other all summer. And he's like, I'm not trying to pit you all against each other. I didn't try to make you look crazy. And he goes, but that's what you're doing. Because I haven't had time with Ciara. And yeah, right now, based on what you've told me about her all summer, I don't trust her. I'm sorry. I don't trust you. And turns to Ciara. And I'm like, girl, didn't stick the landing there. Very weird. Next time on the season finale of Summer House. And we have like some kind of horror theme going, I feel like. We see Kyle in vampire makeup. And Danielle is talking to Kyle. And Danielle says, you are Delulu if you don't think this is an... Oh, no. Danielle's talking to Lindsay and says, you are Delulu if you don't think this is an ending. So I think Danielle's saying, this is your last season of Summer House. And then we show when they pick back up cameras because of initially the Craig Conover stuff. Lindsay says, if I didn't get pregnant, I don't know if we would have stayed together, talking about her current boyfriend. And then we have them in horror makeup again, and Jesse and Lexi are talking in the kitchen. And Jesse's like, you were coming after my character. And she goes, you come after my character all summer. She goes, you didn't tell again the other half of the story, she says to him. And then we go back to picking up cameras where Paige says, he says, I really wish you didn't do this before you saw the ring. And they're like, what? And Paige is like, he said he had it for a year. And they were all like, zoinks. You guys, what an episode. We've gone long once again, but I hope you have the best weekend ever. Q&A episode on Patreon comes out tomorrow, and also the Valley After Show recap comes out on Saturday. So plenty of So Bad It's Good to go around. Listen to these at your leisure. But you guys, go eat something great this week. I'm on a health journey right now, so eat something really sloppy and good for me. Sloppy might not have been a great word. Drink something good. Tell people you love them. Hang out with your friends. Hang out with yourself. Stare at a wall if you want to. Listen to good music. Turn people on to music that you love. Read a book. Read a magazine. Go do a hike. Go do something and just have the best weekend ever. And then after all the other episodes I release, come back on Monday for a pop culture roundup with Sophie Ross. Bye, guys.